in a day or in a year or in a process, and you do realign inside about what you lust for.
Well, that's the argument I keep making from the beginning, that the beauty of the true Hasidic approach, I'm talking about the textual Hasidic approach to hermeneutics, is that, or to life, is that they don't. It's not you know, in the Litvak where they get that like everything is like disgusting, you know, this is forbidden, that's forbidden, like, you know, rather they say that every challenge that you have is a chance, is a mission. So if you have that kind of, if ta'ava is your issue, it needs to be aufheben, as they say in idealistic German philosophy. You know, it needs to be elevated and transformed. So you need to confront what it is that it's like your cognitive psychotherapy. You need to confront what it is and why it's bothering you and what's causing the and then grab the bull by the horns. I don't know, what's your metaphor, and turn it around. So kivrot ta'ava becomes the highest level of transformation.
So you said there were two things.
That was one. Said. The other thing was we were talking about prayer. And the Degel Machne Ephraim, it's technically the first Hasidic book published. He was, I think, the nephew of, or the son-in-law of the Baal Shem Tov or something. I always get I'm very bad with these biographies. Some people can spout them. I never get who he's related to who, but, you know, I like it that way because then I don't get distracted. But it was the earliest Hasidic text. I think it was printed before the Toldot, Yaakov Yosef, which is... so he... his teaching on this parsha talks about prayer, and he said something that that answered one of your comments the other day, and I thought I'd share it.
Great. With your audience. Great.
Hello. So this is the so the teaching of it, and we can get into that, Eikev. I mean, let me just before I read this. I have two things. I mean, one is we can talk about the parsha because there's a lot of stuff. It's another rich parsha, and then the other thing is, and they wanted to talk about Tu B'Av a little.
Okay, well, go ahead and finish this off.
So you know, I'll give you the background, and then I'll fit this into the thing. And this is not in my written shir. I didn't see this before. So it says there's a very strange passage. I don't even know how they translated there. Did you see? How does the English translate it? Which English is this anyway?
The Art Scroll.
I always love the Art Scroll. Who's this named after? This is the first time in Jewish history. When they say there are no innovations, that they're traditional Jews, never in Jewish history is there a series of books which are known by the name of the person who donated the money. Like they say the stone chumash, the whatever. Never happened before. It's a new innovation. What's anybody saying?
I want you to finish your thought before you can reference the chat room.
The thought will go on for a while. So let's. So what does it say here? And this shall be your reward when you hearken to these ordinances. I don't even know what that means. They actually don't translate the words at all. So the opening phrase of this very beautiful chapter, right? This is the one where this is the one that pastors always use. I always have in my head this like Southern Baptist kind of sound. If you make your bed in heaven, he's there. If you make your bed in hell, he's there. He's everywhere. So that's from this parsha, right? So it starts out by saying that if you Vaya Eikev Tishmun, it's a very strange phrase. Nobody knows what to do with it, right? So there's a famous midrash that Rashi quotes. Eikev means the end. I think it means kind of like if at the end, if you do everything, if you follow, then these are the words that you will get. That's the literal translation. But Eikev, famously in terms of a midrashic translation, is heal. Means a heal. So it's a very singular word. It doesn't appear anywhere else. So all the commentaries get colorful and what just do they mean by heels. And we will run the gamut from lifting yourselves out of the mud to being beneath the jackboot.
Okay, so I had a point about prayer that you said this commentary.
So the Degel's Hasidic approach to this is that Eikev means that that's literally like pulling your feet up out of the mire. When you pull because in traditional Zoharic language, the feet are what's at risk. The feet are what reach into the lower worlds, and they reach into they're what's polluted.
Yeah.
So the pulling up one's feet, there are lots of descriptions. It's almost like they get fetal, no pun intended. The higher spirit pull their feet up, and that's what he references there. That's a little obscure, but he says this, which struck me. So he says that what that means, what that metaphor means, is faith, and that faith is what drives that. And then along the line of this argument, he says that what does faith mean? Faith means that everything is new all the time. Every day is a new day. Why? Because it says, that God creates the world, as it were, anew at every moment. Which makes an awful lot of sense, if you think about it. Again, if you get into like the physics of it.
Yeah.
But so this is a theme that appears a lot in Hasidic thought, that Hayom Hazeh, it's like everything is like Sinai. It's like you're at Sinai right now, at this moment. Because every time you have a new conception about something, it's a whole new world. It's very Zen. You can transform in a moment. There's a lot of that in the Hasidic thinking. So that's true too. So he says it specifically, and he says specifically about spirituality and about prayer. And that's when I was thinking about what you said the other day about prayer being the same every day. So he quotes the Gemara. So the Gemara there says that. So he says that tefillah is really faith, and that there's a famous Gemara that it says if you have a snake around your feet, you don't stop davening. But if you have a scorpion on your feet, you can, because it's too dangerous, right? So he says that that nachash stands for bad thoughts. Like if you start thinking about girls when you daven,
right.
that you don't stop davening.
Right.
Why? Because he says explicitly, this is as explicit a line about what I keep saying to you as I can find. Because he says like this, I'll perish. If a bad thought, a strange thought, a distracting thought encircles a person, lo yafsik milit palel, you should not stop praying. Why? If you believe truly that God created the universe and He's the King of the world, this is what I kind of trying to explain last week. If you have a consciousness at all, it is because God created the world so that you can understand it. So any act of consciousness that you have is in a sense divine. Right? The question is, how do you encounter it? So any possible distracting thought that you have is really a thought that's waiting to be elevated by you.
Oh, wow.
So you're challenged by this, and they very frequently say it's your challenge. That's your, if you struggle with something, if there is a, let's say, sinful thoughts of this or that form, that's your challenge. And that's your job to develop the new insight into it. So it's bevadai machshava zara ba'al letikuna kedei lahalota l'shorsha. It's coming to you for you to fix it.
So there's a point to these bad thoughts. I mean, that's your work.
Yes, exactly. The only thing that stops you from davening is akra, a scorpion. And what's the akra, right? So the Gemara says it's very strange. If you have a snake, you don't stop davening, but if you have a scorpion, you stop davening. So what stops you from davening? Loss of faith. There's moments of ultimate nullity, of negativity, when you don't feel that you have the ability to do it. When you lost it, that's when you have to stop. And then that's when you have to gather your legs